everybody. It looks like we're live, and I'm waiting to see if there are going to be people here joining us tonight on a Monday, which is a first Monday occurrence for me on YourTango's Facebook Live. There's one person watching, which is very exciting. Let's see if there's going to be more. Okay, I see people coming on, so that's awesome. I don't see anybody talking yet, so say hi and ask questions. My name's Arianna Jeret, if you haven't been on here before. Oh, hi. Okay, so M. Alzul, hi, nice to see you. Hi, Gul. Hello, good to see you. I'm Arianna Jeret. I'm an editor at YourTango, and I'm here to talk to you guys about really anything you want to ask. Hi, Bradley. I'm really good. I've had a good day. I've been driving all day. So I'm usually on here on Sundays, and I'm doing Monday tonight. Hi, Diane and Karen and Mercedes. Oh, good afternoon. I wonder where you are, because I'm in LA and it's already 7:15. Let's see. Hi, Hamza and Elise and Christy. Hello, dear. Christine. It's so good to see people coming on. And I hope everybody had a good Father's Day weekend if you celebrate. It was nice here. It was just mellow. My parents were actually in Europe. So I'm in their house right now because they have air conditioning and I don't. Hi, Jeanette and Jake. I have a kid named Jake, so I happen to love that name. Hi, Danielle. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to be answering your guys' questions about anything, really love, sex, kinky sex, fetishes, relationships, divorce. I guess so everybody knows my background a little bit. I have a master's in social work. I was a divorce mediator in my past life, and now I'm a full-time editor here at YourTango. And so nothing here is going to be therapeutic advice, legal advice. We're just going to be chatting and answering your questions. No sound at all. That is not good. Let me see. Can you hear me now? Still no sound? This is not good. I don't know why that would happen. I'm just on the same phone I'm always on. Let me see if anything fixes it. Not cool. Uh-oh. I guess maybe did you hear me first? Yes, now you can hear me? Somebody, can you hear me? Can anybody else hear me? Okay, Bradley, I'm assuming you just put in a question, so can you hear me? Yay, okay, good. Okay, so now I'll keep my phone the way that it is. So I'm gonna go back. I saw Bradley has a question, but I saw that Charisse had one earlier, so I'm gonna find that one and answer it, and then I'll go back to Bradley's. And thank you guys for telling me that you didn't hear the sound and for staying with me while I fix it. Okay, Charisse said, hi, is it okay to have a relationship with a younger guy, like 9 years younger? Do you believe that age doesn't matter? Oh, and Diane, I see you asked if it's live and that you get a lag and pause. When I watch Facebook Live, I get a lag and pause too. I think it's my computer, but I'm live right now. I'm here. So personally, I mean, first of all, the only way that I think it matters, Charisse, as far as age is let's say that you were 27 and he was 9 years younger. Okay, well, that would still be okay because he'd be 18. But if you were 26 and he was 17, then depending on the laws in your state, then, it would be illegal. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that we're not talking about anything involving a minor. But other than that, I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say I think that age is just a number. I mean, I think that there are really definitely significant issues that are impacted by age in a relationship. And I myself, when I was 39, I don't know if I would even say I dated him, but I had an ongoing relationship with a guy who was 26. So that's 13 years. It's a pretty big difference. And I don't think that there was anything morally or ethically wrong with that, but we were definitely at different stages in our life. And so as much as we liked each other and were attracted to each other and got along great, he was a really solid, good guy who I think if he hadn't gotten married which he might be now. I know he was engaged. You know, if he didn't get married and have kids, like, I think that would have been a real, like, waste to humanity, because this was a guy who should get married and have a family. And I was, you know, I already had 2 kids and I was past that stage. So I think if it makes a difference as far as like your life stages, or it's going to somehow, you know, cause one of you to not fulfill the things that you wanted to fulfill, then that's something to think about. But there are so many other factors that go into that too. You know, you can be the same age as somebody and one of you want to have a family and one of you not, or want to live in one place and one of you not. So I don't think it matters any more than anything else matters in discussions. You know, it's like if religion's important to one person and not to the other, that can be a problem. If sex is important to one person and not to the other, that can be a problem. So if the age thing, to me, it's just another one of the pieces of the relationship pie. But if you guys are 9 years apart and you're having fun and everything's good, then I say enjoy yourselves and have a good time. Okay, I'm gonna see now what Bradley's question was. Scrolling there to see. Okay, Bradley said, awesome, just met this woman tonight. Oh, tonight. That's, okay, this is like live. Oh, this is like live streaming your relationship happening, Bradley. I'm excited. Okay, let's see. Awesome, just met this woman tonight that I've been talking to for the last week. Things went great. I have a first date planned for Friday night. Oh, so you're just sharing. That's you know, fabulous. Good, I'm excited for you. So then I'll be back on Sunday of next week. So come back and tell us how the date went. And if you have any questions about, you know, the first date coming up, then ask now in the comments. But I'm excited for you. That's really good. Here, I'm liking your comment. Okay, let's see. Shantine said, hi, hun. Buena Park here. I can hear you. Oh, you're close. You're like right by Disney, right? Buena Park. So it's nice to... My hair is all weird because it's so hot and humid in here. But nice to meet you. Hi to Chris and Anthony. Do you know sign language? I don't, unfortunately. That's probably from when the mic was off. And sign language would be, you're right. It would be really good if the mic was off, but I don't. Maybe I have to keep a pen and paper next to me next time. Okay, hi to Terry and Tim and Luth and Julie and Kenneth. I'm just looking at all the names of people who are here joining us while I'm looking for questions. Carol. Oh, Bradley said she's older. I'm 36. She's 43. Okay, so see, like, as far as I'm concerned for you guys, you know, and Ruth, right after you, said 2 adults is okay, kind of creeps me out, 40-year-old with 20-year-old. So, you know, I'm going to assume that wasn't me you were talking about because I was 39 and he was 26. It sounds creepy to say, to be honest. I mean, I feel a little creepy saying it, but it wasn't creepy. It was fun. But yeah, Bradley, I think that's, you know, a 7-year difference like that. It just depends. Like for me, now I'm 44. And when I go on, if I look on a dating site or whatever, like if I saw a 36-year-old guy, I would definitely be concerned that he would maybe be still at the stage where he wanted to get married and have kids. And I have 2 kids, and so for me to, you know, be with a guy who already has kids, you know, great, that's all wonderful. Have a blended family, something like that. But my shop is closed for sure, and I have to apologize because right now I have to walk to the door of my childhood bedroom and let my dog in because she's scratching, but she's also cute. So here she is with me. There's my dog, Ella. So she'll be with me now for the rest of the time. Okay, so let's see. Ella. Whoops. And I almost, and I unplugged my battery, which I'm plugging back in. Whenever you're at your parents' house, like when you're a 44-year-old doing something for work at your parents' house, you have to expect there are going to be a few bumps in the road, right? So, sorry about that. Okay, let's see. Mao said, can I ask something? Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who's here can ask something. So you just have to write it into the comments, and I'm happy to answer. Let's see. Okay, Chris said, I'm dating someone 15 years my junior, and it's great. So there you go. So that's working out. Jeanette said, how are you supposed to get out and start dating after your husband leaves you after 28 years? Well, oh, and I'm going to go back because right after your new question, Charisse went back and clarified that she's 28 and he's 29. I mean, I think that to me, I think that 28 to 9, he's 19, not 29. I said 29. I do think there's definitely going to be a maturity difference there. You know, he is an adult, but I think I would just, if I were you, Cherie, like I'd be very like cognizant of where he is in life and like that he's, you know, I don't know if you're ready to have kids and like settle down, and he is like really, really young for that kind of stuff. So, you know, back to like what I was saying before, like, do I think there's anything wrong with it, or do I think it's okay? I think it's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think that it's really important for you guys to be on the same page about, you know, are you guys having fun right now? And you both expect it to only be a fun thing and it's going to be that way? Or is this something where one of you or both of you see it as something serious, and then given your ages, how does that make it, you know, better or worse for either one of you? But, you know, so it's kind of the same thing. I mean, I definitely think that maturity could be a factor at that age. So I would try to be, you know, extra aware of that. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. Okay, so the question that Jeanette had about getting out and dating after your husband leaves you after 28 years. I mean, this is the way. The first thing I would do is, I know that it's so hard to be betrayed, and assuming that you're saying, you know, instead of saying in the question after getting divorced after 28 years, you're saying he left you. So, you know, I can hear that you're, you know, feeling pretty betrayed and probably very hurt and abandoned and all of that. And so I think the first thing is to get, you know, work on your mindset. And I'm not saying like the work on the, you know, finding yourself and loving yourself kind of a thing before you get out and start dating. Because if anybody has watched this before, that is not my relationship belief set. But I think, you know, to get yourself in the place of, okay, like this happened, and whether or not I like it, this is where my life is. And so now this is the, you know, next chapter for me, and to be able to get into that place of, okay, whether or not he left or you left, there were probably things in that relationship that were not ideal for you as well as for him. And so to start to think about, well, what kind of experiences and opportunities and types of men and types of dates and things do you want to explore now? And then just look at it as fun. And I think that if you can approach these like dating sites as like experimentation, as opposed to like a goal-oriented, like to find a next person or even just to find a date. But if you can look at it as like, I'm just going to go see like what can happen right now. And I'm going to go see what funny thing happens today on OkCupid or eHarmony or Match or Tinder or whatever it is that you're going to be looking on, Bumble, whatever. And look at it as, okay, like what's going to be a fun story I can share with my kids or my friends, or send somebody an email, or I can come back onto, you know, Facebook Live and I can share it with Arianna and everybody who's watching, or, you know, and kind of look at it as each one of these experiences is going to be another story in your life and another lesson. And then hopefully along the way, you also have, you know, really good times when you go out. And it's just a chance to get more in touch with what you want to have in the next dating period. And, you know, if you got married 28 years ago, you're probably a lot different now than you were when you met your ex-husband. And, you know, I know dating for me in my 30s and 40s is radically different than it was in my 20s, because my whole sense of myself is different. And not because, you know, I don't really believe there's been any kind of a dating apocalypse like there was an article in Vanity Fair a year or two ago about. I don't think dating's really changed all that much. I just think that when you've lived this much of life, you can approach it in a very different way. And so I would just get in the mindset of that, of, you know, what can you think about differently as far as how dating is going to serve you and be fun for you. And just don't worry about what your ex-husband did, because he did it. That's what I would say. Let's see. Laura said, I'll say it for you, age is just a number. So see, she agrees. Ruth said, I don't want my daughter dating someone 40 plus years old. It's just ew. I don't know how old your daughter is. But I think we all want different things for our kids that may not be what we wanted for ourselves or what our kids wanted for them or not. And so we just have to trust our kids to make good decisions. Like if your kid's in their 20s and they're old enough to be dating somebody who's 40 something, then that's their choice to be making. Or, and I do, like, I have definitely seen genuine, loving marriages between people who had a 20 some odd year age difference. Absolutely. And I've seen them with people who have 0 age difference. And then I've seen shitty relationships with people who have a 20-year age difference and shitty relationships with people who are the same age. I don't think the age is ultimately, the make it or break it thing. There's just so many layers to what goes into any particular relationship that I think having one factor that you're really hung up on in a rigid way, you can be missing out on so much. Bradley said, first time going out with someone with that much of an age gap. So you have that 7-year age gap. So, but it sounds like, so you just met her. I don't know if you met her on a dating site because you've been talking for like a week. But it shouldn't be any different. If you can get with this guy who was 26, like I could have better conversations with him than I can have with a lot of guys my own age. I really enjoyed talking with him and vice versa. I definitely wouldn't have wanted, it wouldn't have been right for a long-term relationship, but also, 7-year age difference I feel is a lot different. And my ex-husband was 8 years older than me, and it wasn't obviously the right relationship because we're divorced, but why should, it's really like, if you're looking at it that way, that's much more about, not about an age gap, but that's about the gender issue with age gap. And that's more about, I think there are probably a lot of women out there who've been out with men who are 7 to 8 years or even 10 years older than them, whereas probably not as many men who've been out with women that much older. And so, I think that's just like a societal hang up that we're all kind of moving past, hopefully. Ruth said, why can't the old geezer date his own age? Why? Because, well, I don't know who the old geezer is that we're talking about, but if somebody's older and they meet somebody who's their, people are just attracted to who they're attracted to. And if they're mutually attracted, it's interesting because somebody asked me this week, I got a message from somebody that I know, kind of, asking me what I think about sugar dating, like, sugar babies and sugar daddies. And a lot of his question was based on, A, do I think it's prostitution, a form of prostitution? And B, about the fact that it's typically, when you're talking about sugar babies and sugar daddies, you're talking about like a 20-something woman and a man who's probably at least in his 40s, but probably 50s. And, when people are asking about that and they're trying to convince themselves that, like, with sugar baby, sugar daddy dating, like, oh, the women are they're just on the site doing that because they like older men because they're more mature, and all the guys her age are too immature. To me, that's like, okay, let's get real. Like, you're on a website that's very clearly for the purpose of older men finding a younger woman who they will be giving a arrangement to or an allowance to or whatever, gifts to, whatever you want to call it, versus calling it, they don't say giving her money, like, so they don't sound like it's prostitution. But yeah, technically, is it a form of prostitution? 100%. Do I have a problem with that? I don't care what anybody else does. I really don't. To me, I would just rather see that, sex work and prostitution be legalized and regulated and, like, somehow subject to employment law so that women don't get and men don't get abused as badly under, the way that it runs now. But so is sugaring, if you're truly sugaring, a form of prostitution? Yeah. And so do I therefore think, why aren't those guys just going online and trying to meet women their own age who might actually like them? Yeah. I definitely have that question in my mind. And do I I understand why the women are doing it, like that it's purely for the financial gain of it. So like in those situations, I kind of understand the being like, why aren't you just looking for a woman your own age? But again, it's like, everybody's free to make their own decisions about why. And if you're truly on just a pure, like, regular dating site and you're just looking for people in any age range, and the people that you find happen to be people in that age group, then because he liked her and that was the group, age group she was in, and vice versa, because she liked him. Let's see. Peyton says, my boyfriend doesn't text me like that, like at all. What should I do? Well, to me, and Leanne, hey, I see you said hi after. I mean, if he doesn't text you at all, but he's your boyfriend, I'm just wondering, are you having other quality communication with him? Do you guys talk on the phone regularly? Does he call you every night? Are you seeing each other all the time? And so he doesn't like to text anybody? Or does he text everybody else in his life and you're the only person he won't text? Because I know, like, I happen to be a texter. I love text messaging. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a writer. Maybe it's because I'm an introvert. But like, I used to love when I was younger getting on the phone and talking to people. And now it's like, I'm both thankful and not thankful for the invention of texting, because now I don't have to actually pick up a phone and become like emotionally exhausted talking on the phone to somebody for a long time. And I know that there are other people who hate texting and say, their thumbs are getting tired or whatever they say, and they feel like they can't express themselves as well. And, people just have their different ways of expressing themselves that they prefer. So if he won't text you because he doesn't find texting to be a great form of communication for him, like I know some people who are dyslexic who have a hard time with it, or maybe like for me it's getting harder because like my eyes get worse. So there are all kinds of different reasons some people don't like texting, and if that's valid and the entire rest of your relationship is going well, then okay, no big deal. If he just won't text you because he feels like it's like in a situation where it's basically like a control thing, right? So he's not going to let you control him by you saying, I want you to text me, and then he says, I'm not going to text you back, and then it's purely just kind of like this who's more in charge control dynamic. That's messed up. And so what should you do? All you can really do is talk to him about it, tell him it bothers you, find out why he's not texting you. If the reason makes sense to you and you feel like it's valid based on everything else you know about him and the rest of your relationship, then I would just stop pushing it. But if you talk to him and he's just an ass about it and he doesn't have any good reason and he's just kind of like, because I don't want you to tell me what to do, well then, to me, then you get to, evaluate the relationship and whether or not, like, is that how he is in the rest of the relationship? Is he just kind of like a oppositional, controlling jerk who won't do anything that's what you asked him to do? Then maybe it's time to move on and see how he feels when you're texting other people. I don't know. So I would have the conversation with him that way. I would try to find out more about why first, as the first step, and then go with your gut about how you feel about that. Ruth said, what did they talk about? The toilet paper. Back to the age difference. Come on. I mean, I know plenty of, I work with people here at YourTango. We have, interns and other editors who are much younger than me, probably. I mean, gosh, there are definitely some, as much as I hate to say it, who are 20 years younger than me, but are still adults. And they have really interesting life experiences. They've lived in other countries, or they live in a different state, and they have their own thoughts on what's going on in the news based on their generational perspective and their ideas about the world. And I learn from them all the time, and hopefully they learn from me, and I enjoy having conversations with them. I don't if I don't limit my friendships or any other relationships in my life by age, I really just think that like we're stuck in like this societal judgment, and there's really no necessary reason for it other than judging other people. But whatever What if they don't like talking to each other? Maybe, what if they're having sex all the time and they both just enjoy that? Who cares? Like, that's, if it's working for them, groovy. Like, what do I care? You know? Yeah, I mean, I don't, whatever they like talking about is what they're talking about. Elle said, if you're asking, it might be an issue for you. I mean, that's a good point too. I think, I do think there's truth to that. There are a lot of people who come on and they ask questions here, and the question can be pretty like non-specific, so it can be hard for me to answer. But I do think there's some truth to the fact that if something is bothering you, that you should probably look at why it's bothering you. At the same time, you know, that's why it's great to be able to come and like ask questions to people, because you can explore, because maybe you find out what's bothering you is something that like you can clear up for yourself pretty easily, and then just feel more comfortable and move forward. So yeah, I do think there's truth to that, but then great. So that's why you're asking about it. Oh, and I'm sorry, Diane said that my sound stalled again. So I'm sorry I didn't see that, but hopefully it's going well, better now. Ruth said, bye now. I'm sorry I didn't agree with you, Ruth. I'm just not going to agree with things that I don't agree with, but we can still have conversations. Ma said, I do masturbation a lot in one day. This is good or not good. You know, that's one of those things that it's really, how is it affecting your life? You know, if you're masturbating every day, you said a lot in one day. So like, is it like one day a week you masturbate a lot? Is it every single day you masturbate a lot? And then is that in some way affecting your work or your relationships or anything else? Are you masturbating because you're bored? Are you masturbating because you aren't in a relationship? Are you masturbating because you're trying to avoid a relationship? You know, there's nothing inherently wrong with masturbation itself, and there's no right or wrong number of times per day, or like there's no numerical value that is the correct or healthy number for masturbation. It's really, you know, what is the reason to look at? You know, if you're trying to avoid something, then the issue isn't masturbation, it's the thing that you're avoiding. Because, you know, it could be, maybe you're avoiding work, maybe you're avoiding your relationships with people, maybe, you know, it's just before bed and when you wake up and during a break and like whatever, and it doesn't affect anything else in your life, then who cares? So I would say it's only an issue if you feel that it's an issue, and if you feel that it's an issue, why? Is it an issue because it's keeping you from something else? If so, look at what that something else is and figure out why you're keeping yourself from it. And if the issue is that it's just that you've been taught that it's wrong or bad or dirty to do it too many times, then I would take a look at the source that's making you feel that way and how much you really value that opinion, and how much it matters to you. Because if it's not affecting anything else in your life, then why is it any different than how often you scratch your shoulder every day? You know, it's just another part of your body. Okay, let's see. Jay asked me to show him my inners. And I don't, you know, I've had 2 C-sections, but I don't really feel like, I guess, okay, moving on. Oh, somebody wrote, Leah wrote, Mom, more than twice is too much? Oh, LOL. Okay, I'm going to go with the LOL there because I was thinking more than twice in your life to masturbate is too much. Then I know a lot of people who are in really big trouble, myself included. Okay. Chris said, I'm 48, she's 33. I mean, again, oh, see, Jay, you just said I acted like I didn't read your comments, but wasn't your comment the one about my innards? I think I read your comments. I'm not trying to act like I don't read anybody's comments. Yeah. I answered your comments about my inners. So there we go. We're all good now, right? It just takes me a while to scroll, but I can get to your comments even about, you know, things you shouldn't be asking people about that you don't know. It's okay. Okay, so let's see. So So Chris said, I'm 48, she's 33. And then somebody else after that said cradle robbing. But like, what's up with the cradle robbing thing? Like, what are you robbing them from? She's somebody's 33 years old. If they're in their 20s, nobody's being stolen or kidnapped or robbed. Like, these are consenting adults getting involved. And, as much as, like, I'm a people pleaser and I want y'all to like me, like, I'm here to answer questions truthfully. And, like, sorry, these are big boys and girls who get to make their decisions about who they like and who they don't like. And if it's not affecting, like, the things that are, like, true priorities in your life to be able to accomplish, and if nobody's abusive to the other, and, like, I feel like it's so hard for people these days to find, like, a solid relationship. And I know so many people who've been in really, like, abusive, like, horrible relationships. And I mean, like, the divorce rate isn't actually increasing. It's actually been decreasing steadily. It's like 44% now. So the statistics are wrong on that usually. But that's, 44% is still pretty high. So if two people really fall in love with each other and things are good, and the only issue is, like with that one, a 15-year age difference, but they're both adults, who cares? I mean, just really, like, I'd love it if somebody who doesn't agree with me can give me, like, a comment, can write in the comments a reason. Like, if you can give me a reason why the age difference matters, that isn't just, like, a fallback phrase like cradle robbing, or, somebody's a baby, or this, a gold digger, or what do they talk about, but like a real, like, thought out, like, this is why it matters. I would be super interested in reading it and in considering it, because I'm totally open to other people's opinions. I really am. But I just think when we fall back on things like cradle robber, I mean, no offense to you, Maria, honestly, no offense to you, that to me just says, like, that's something that you were taught is bad. And I respect whoever taught it to you, because, I'm assuming it was somebody who was a, authority figure in your life, or, the community in your life, or something like that. But it doesn't make it true as it applies to other human beings and their lives. That's my particular feeling about it. Jerry asked what's a good position, but then he wrote a bunch of, like, laughy faces afterwards. So I'm kind of going to assume that it's not a real question, and I'm just going to say most of them are pretty good. And then if somebody wants to ask a specific question about that, then I'm happy to answer it. Mark said, hey, swinger, which I assume isn't for me because I'm not a swinger, but hey, it's nice to see you. Christina said, hi there, can't hear anything or see anything but comments. I don't know why. It seems like some people can hear and some people can't, and that sucks tonight, but I'm not at home. It'll be better next week when people can hear. Anna said, I'm dating someone who's 9 years my elder. He's yet to buy me one single gift. We've been dating for a year, and it doesn't seem like I give more than he does, but we're together. We are happy as hell. Took a lot of time apart because he lives in a different state, but we talk at least 3 times a day. Oh, okay. So, like, Anna, you're saying, so, like, the point is he's older than you, but it's not like he pays for you, or there's no, like, sugar daddy, sugar baby kind of an arrangement. It just happens to be the way that your relationship is. So that's great. And it says that you work on your relationship, and see, so, who's to judge that by, like, the number of years in between your birth dates? Sean said, stay single, pay your bills, and get a pet. I love my pet, and paying bills is really important, and somehow I'm staying single. But I'm glad that works for you. Everybody's got different stuff. Let's see. Oh, well, this is interesting. So Maria, who said earlier, same Maria who said that earlier the cradle robbing is a problem, is now asking me if I do DP, which is double penetration, which is when a woman has sex with, 2 men, or a man and a woman with a strap on, and typically one is penetrating her vagina and one's penetrating her anus, but it could be double vaginal or double anal penetration. I find that fascinating, Maria, that you would ask me that question about me. Do you do DP personally, like you're asking me personally? I'm so confused about the difficulty you have with cradle robbing and the ease with which you ask me if I do DP personally. That is really interesting. Okay, I'm going to keep going now, though. Oh, Bailey! My cousin's here, but it says her phone isn't letting her watch. So I'm sorry. Come back next time. It's probably because it's at my parents' house, but you know them and love them. I'm so excited you're here. Renee said hi. Leah Stone said, just wanted to say hi, girls. So hi to you. Shay said, is it better if you're going to hold your hair? But I don't know what you mean, if what's going to hold your hair. Like if a guy holds your hair? I'm not sure what you mean. Jay said that I look like a one-night stand lady. Are you just mad that I won't show you I showed you my innards, Jay. I showed you inside my mouth. That was a big step for me. Okay, let's see. Somebody said my top is losing form. It's just a tank top. I don't know what to tell you, with like a sports bra thing kind of under it. Let's see. Lacey said, me and my husband don't have sex a lot. I have gained a lot of weight and I plan on having weight loss surgery in August or September. I hope this helps, but he thinks we will be divorced in 2 years tops if I have the surgery, because he says once I get more attention, I'll find someone else. Thoughts? Well, okay, so my questions for you, Lacey, would be, are you having weight loss surgery because you want it? Or are you having weight loss surgery because you think that it means that you and your husband will have sex more because he'll be more attracted to you? So that's my first question for you to think about. And then after that, I'm wondering, or, it could be both. Maybe you want it and you think he wants it. But it's like a weird attitude for me to hear from your husband, because it's kind of like, that's a really negative position for him to take, that you'll be divorced in 2 years because you'll leave him. Because, if you love him, then, I would think that regardless of whatever your weight is and how many men are or aren't coming on to you, if your relationship is solid, then that wouldn't affect things from your end to be heading towards a divorce. But also, I do think that not having sex in a marriage is a huge problem. And based on if one person still wants to have sex, there are some marriages where both people sort of agree that they're not interested, or they agree one person isn't interested and the other one is, so they're going to but the rest of their relationship is good, so they're going to let the person who wants to have sex go outside of the marriage for that. And that can work too. But if it's an ongoing issue that you want to have sex and he doesn't, I really find it hard to believe that his only reason would be your weight. I think that that's an excuse that men give a lot. It could be a part of it, and I don't know exactly where your weight is. But I would err on the side of saying that is probably only a small percentage of what the real issue is. And so if you don't, I'm just looking to see what time it is. If you don't get to the root of what the issue is, it doesn't matter if you have weight loss surgery or you don't, and it doesn't matter if other men are coming around and interested in you or if they don't. There are deeper issues there that if you don't get sorted out, the weight just isn't going to matter. And if he keeps having that attitude that you're going to be divorced in 2 years, then you might be. So, it just sounds like, to me, like, I don't know if you already considered couples counseling or if you've already tried it or you're trying it. But I think the issue, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to close a door because, again, I'm in my parents' house and they don't seem to recognize that I can hear them when they're in the next room running water. Okay, so, this is so much fun at my parents' house. So, back to your, I don't believe that you gaining or losing weight is going to cause the two of you to be divorced within 2 years. I think it's, time to sit down and have a conversation about what the real issue is in the bedroom that's going on. And then you do whatever you want to do about your weight based on what, you want to do and for your health and all of that. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to ignore the questions that nobody should be asking somebody that they don't know. I'm happy to answer people's questions about anything like general, but like kind of obvious, just like salacious, like sex questions to me, I'm going to just be passing those on. Okay, so we had another person. Clarissa said, totally, I fell for someone 18 years older than me. Elle said, yikes, Lacey, you're being emotionally abused. I mean, maybe, you know, you may or may not be being emotionally abused. It sounds like it definitely could be in that territory, but again, like I don't really know what the degree of conversations have been between Lacey and her husband. So again, like I don't know if he's the one asking her to lose weight, or if she's doing that thinking it's going to please him, and then he's telling her it won't anyway, you know. But I definitely think there's stuff to uncover there about what's really going on for sure. Jennifer Laster said, how can you make an LDR, a long distance relationship, work? I think that really depends on the two people, you know. I think that, and the distance. But I think that if you really like have a very strong connection with each other, and you're both committed to, I think it's really important to be in contact with each other, you know, over text messages. I think as much as you can do FaceTime or talking on Skype, where you can have, like, there's definitely to me a big difference between having a conversation with somebody on FaceTime or Skype where you actually are seeing each other and it's kind of like you're in the same room. And I don't even mean like to be like for Skype sex or for FaceTime sex, although that can be plenty of fun too. And I mean, for sure. But I just mean even like if you touch base once a day and like look each other in the face and have like just how was your day to day, same kind of conversation you would have if you were just like tired at night and they were at home and you were just climbing into bed together. You know, the more I think you can have those kinds of interactions, the better. And then I think, you know, also the more that you can be in touch like little bits during the day, but also respect each other's boundaries. That, you know, a lot of people with the kind of jobs that they're in, or they have kids, or they have, like, I know I've had this issue before when I've been texting just with friends who don't have kids, that I'll be in the middle of a conversation, like over text message, and then my kids need something and I have to get up and help them with it. And it's something that they really need me to do right now. So I don't have time to say, oh, be right back, or I have to go, you know, do this or that. And so I think you need to also be really understanding about, and probably talk about that beforehand. Just say, hey, if I ever drop off for a minute, just know that it's not anything personal, but I'm attending to my children who need me to attend to them. You know, things like that I think are really, I think it's important to trust the other person, that they're not just being a bitch or an asshole all of a sudden by not talking to you, that they're probably doing something that they needed to do. And then to, you know, when you get back online, just communicate and say where you were. But there's so many, you know, I think long distance relationships are hard. They're super hard. So it just depends on the level of commitment both of you have to making it work. And just, I think that being honest with each other is super important, you know, because it's so easy to get jealous when you don't know what's going on in the background. And I mean, I've been having conversation about this a lot lately. That it's, I really believe it's really important to just be super transparent and open with each other about what goes on in your daily lives that you know, could be potentially a challenge to the relationship at times when you're feeling good or bad or whatever you're feeling about the relationship. So nobody starts to get worried that maybe the other one is thinking or doing things that they're not sharing. You know, communication is always so important in relationships, and I think in a long distance relationship, for it to work, your communication skills have to be like to that like extra nth level for them to work. Okay, let's see. Oh, then this was Bradley responding back again about the woman that he's going out with next Friday, who said, yep, met her on a dating site. Our conversation always flows and the chemistry is really there. So yeah, so who cares? 7 years, whatever. You know, you're a big boy and she's a big girl and it's all good. Oh, Clarissa said, what about sugar mamas? I mean, yeah, that's an interesting question. I actually haven't, wow, like how societally heteronormative of me, right? That I didn't even think about that. But because I haven't seen that much out there about like websites in particular for like sugar baby boys. I don't know, what do you call it? Sugar babies, are they still? And sugar mamas. But to me, I mean, again, same difference, you know? I think, is it a form of prostitution? Yeah. Do I care what anybody else does? No. So yeah, I don't think it matters if it's what the gender, if it's, you know, sugar baby, sugar mama, and it's male, you know, female, like I don't, trans and whatever, who cares? You know, to me, again, it's like, it's about what these consenting adults do. And I just think the really important part is that nobody is abusing anybody and that people are being transparent about their motives. Oh, Sean said he needs a sugar mom with good credit. Well, see, and I don't know I know Seeking Arrangement. I don't know if they sign up men too. They probably do. So maybe you should take a look at the site. And then, yeah, so Sean, go take a look at seekingarrangement.com and then come back on Sunday and tell us how it worked for a guy. I would actually be really super interested in that. Okay, let's see. Sylvia said, I like what you're saying and you are real. I appreciate that, Sylvia, because that's my number one aim in life at this point is to be real with myself and with people in my life and with you guys. So, you know, that's why, again, like, even if you guys get annoying, I'm sorry, or get annoyed, but, it's what I think. Peyton said, thank you, love you. Oh, thank you, love you too. Damon said, because it's annoying, but I don't know if he was talking about, grow up and use the phone like an adult. See, but that's my point. Is like, so for Damon, that's about the question about the boyfriend who doesn't text. So that's my point. Like, some people really don't like to text. And I'm like, really? So, I mean, obviously that's a really strong feeling about it, you know, that you think it's annoying and that it's not being a grown-up. So, like, back to that, you know, question, if that's how her boyfriend feels about it, then to me, that's a valid way to feel. And if he doesn't like to text, then, and that's the only issue in their relationship, then I think she should respect that. And if she still wants him to text and that's really that important to her, then, you know, again, I think it's always just about matching up if your priorities for things match up, rather than like judging each other's priorities. Joseph said, I live in Minnesota and met a woman in Florida through the internet. I'm going down to Florida in September to meet her. All my friends think I'm nuts. I've really enjoyed chatting with her and have become very fond of her. Are my friends correct in thinking I'm nuts? Oh, and Jeffrey Callie said hello, and Jeffrey's here a lot. So hi, Jeffrey, how are you? So Joseph, I don't think you're nuts. The one thing I would say is that I would love for you to have verified that she's the human being that she says she is. Because I've known people who met people online and had like real dialogue with these people and even talked to them on the phone for months and months and months. I mean, I think one guy I know, it was like over a year. And it turned out that it was a totally fake identity. I mean, and there was a real person he'd been talking to, but like all the pictures that she sent were not really her. And there were other details about her life that she was basically like using details about like her, I think it was like her brother's girlfriend or something like that. So before I would like get on a plane and fly out, I would just want to make sure it's not some like psycho meeting me at the airport who's nothing that I know anything about, you know. Yeah, somebody just wrote catfish. Like, I would definitely want to be super safe and have like some form of verification that this is who I'm going to meet. But other than that, no. I mean, I know people who've met people online who lived in different states and ended up getting married, and one person just had to move to the other location. So, you know, I think with everything with online dating, like you have to be safe. My favorite trick that actually my babysitter at the time taught me when I first started online dating is that you can download somebody's picture from a dating site and then upload it in Google Images. So when you go to a Google Images search and there's like a little camera icon inside of the search box, if you click on that, you can upload an image from your computer and it'll find you the same picture anywhere on the web. It doesn't always work depending on which picture they used, but I have definitely found people who were trying I don't know what scam they were trying, but I've definitely found people who were not the identity that they were trying to present on totally legit dating sites. So I would just make sure you know her identity. But other than that, I think that's great. Okay, it's getting late, I think. It's 8:04. So I'm going to look and see if I find one more question. Taylor James wrote, age is just a number. I agree. Kaiser Sose's here? I don't think is that your real name? He said, what about you? But I don't know what about me what. Let's see. Ma said, I do masturbate alone because I'm single. So, again, cool. Like, if it's not bothering you, not making anything else not work in your life, I don't have a problem. Vernon said, hello. So, hello. Amy wrote, help. If a guy is shy introvert and you think he might like you due to mixed signals, how do you approach him about it without scaring him? Well, okay, so as somebody who is an introvert, who has basically like forced myself over the years to pretend like I'm an extrovert sometimes, because I'm not, I would say that if there's nothing wrong with just saying, like, I'm interested in you, and I kind of feel like sometimes I think you might be interested in me too, but I'm not really positive, and so I don't want to make things weird if you're not. But if you are, I'd be really interested in exploring that. I don't really think there's any bad outcome with that. I mean, there's the potential that he could be like, oh, no, like that's not what I meant for you to pick up from me. And then as long as you're cool about it with him, and as long as you walk in prepared for that opportunity that he might say to you, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, you got that impression. As long as you're prepared for that to be an option and to just say, okay, cool. Well, I figured I would just see, but no problem. Doesn't affect anything else or our friendship or anything. Then you really aren't, I don't think, risking anything, because I don't know anybody who's ever talked badly about somebody just because they approached to say that they were interested. I mean, if anything, you'll make his day because he'll probably feel really, flattered. And then on the flip side, he might be like, yeah, I totally do like you, and I just didn't know what to say. Because usually if he is shy and that's why he's giving you mixed messages, then you're doing him a favor by giving him the opening and by being understanding of him like that. So yeah, I would just, approach it with that really open mind that there's no good or bad outcome, and just be kind of light about it. I wouldn't make it like a whole heavy conversation, and just go for it, because there's nothing to lose. And I mean, I hate to be cliche, but there's nothing to lose and everything to gain, really, in that situation. Kyle said, I love you. I love you too. I mean, the way I love everybody, but thank you. I really appreciate it. Jeffrey said, Amy, if he's shy, I think he'll get scared no matter how you approach him. I mean, but he might get scared. Jeffrey, like, I agree with you. He might get scared. And if he gets scared and he reacts badly, then okay, it's not going to work out. But maybe he'll be thankful. Maybe he won't. But even if you scare him, so that's his problem, maybe, that he feels a little bit scared for a few minutes. But that's why I'm saying, if you approach it, Amy, in a light way, and if you approach it in a way where you're like, hey, totally cool if I'm wrong. Like, I kind of get this feeling and I feel it, but totally cool if I'm wrong. And you give him that out. Like, just make sure you give him the permission to say no. Just the same way, women appreciate that for men. Like, just everybody needs to have permission to say no. Nobody should ever feel like they're pushed. But other than that, I still say it's worth it. Noonan said, Canadian guy here, anger is a big deal here. In PIE or in pay? I don't know. It's looked down on. Oh, age. You mean age. Yeah, I mean, it's different everywhere. Bianca asked about long distance relationships. So I answered that one, but yours is, Bianca says, what do you think about long distance relationship? He's in Italy and I'm in Florida. I'm really in love, but he's very jealous. I'm confused. Thank you. So I'm going to assume that you guys have met, but you may not have. And I don't know what he's doing with his jealousy, but I mean, Italy to Florida is a big distance. And I don't know if either one of you are potentially open to eventually moving. And that's another thing I think with long distance relationships. I don't think that they can be interminable, that they go on as a long distance relationship. I think there has to be a point where one of you is going to be able to move to the other one's location, or you're both going to move somewhere together. So Bianca, I would say that that's really important, is at some point, are you going to Italy or is he going to Florida? Like right there, I think is the first thing to figure out. And then how much, have you spent a long period of time together at any given point in time, just to make sure it's not just like that rush of excitement, being with somebody, and especially like somebody foreign and all of that. Okay, I see that there are more questions, but it's getting late. So I'm going to tell you guys that when this is done, I'm going to scroll through and I'm going to take a look and make sure I capture any messages that I missed from today. So I have them down for next week. And even though this is Monday night, typically I'm here on Sundays at 7:15 Pacific, 10:15 Eastern. And then I know you guys are all over the place, which is so awesome. But those are the two basic time zones I'll give you. And you can come back tomorrow night and Thursday night at the same time to see Becca After Dark, and she can maybe take some of the questions if I missed them. And then on Wednesday at the same time, Joanna Schroeder will be here talking about feminism and politics and whatever. She's got a lot of thoughts turning always. She's brilliant, and she'll be talking about something on Wednesday. So I'm sorry I'm missing anybody else's questions, but we will talk about it next weekend. And I'm so glad you guys were all here with me, and have a great night and rest of your week. I'll see you Sunday. Bye.